Welcome back to Worship at Home, week 15. This week we talked to Julie Ladd, and she tells us how she turned a childhood traumatic experience into a ministry of helping others. Hope you enjoy. God bless.
Goodbye,
Everyone, thanks for tuning in. This week we're talking to Julie Ladd. She's going to tell about a childhood experience she had.
Hi. Well, I've told this story a numerous amount of times, so we'll see if I can get through this without any tears. So when I was 6 years old, we moved to Corinth, Mississippi from Pennsylvania because my dad had found work in Mississippi where they were closing down their facility in Pennsylvania. And so we moved across the U.S. to be closer to family, and it started different life experience. When we moved there, it was a complete culture shock from everywhere, from Coke, used to be soda, the way that they talked, foods, everything was different. Well, when we moved to Mississippi, I was starting first grade. And my mom had gotten a job as a secretary, and so because both of my parents needed to work, we needed to be taken care of outside of school. Well, my family had gotten a local family from the church to agree to watch us after school, and in this experience is something that I do talk freely about, but I recognize that I'm not the only one that's had an experience like this. So one of the boys from the family decided that, or maybe not decided, but had the idea to try some inappropriate things with me. And at that time I didn't understand what was happening, but it was sexual abuse, and I did not recognize what was going on at that time until I became older. I started to get really angry, getting into a lot of trouble. I was the oldest of three, so being the oldest, my parents really didn't know what they were doing, so part of it I think they just chalked up to a new experience, moving. After having this experience with this older boy, we didn't stay in the situation very long, thankfully, because a similar experience happened with my sister, and my sister actually told my parents, and so they took us out, but I never felt the courage to be able to talk about it. I think at that time I was afraid I was going to get in trouble, and I think a lot of kids have that experience, that they're afraid they're going to get in trouble if they share something like that happen because they're afraid they're going to be blamed. Well, at 6 years old, your brain is not developed to be able to handle that type of experience because your amygdala and the sexual urges that come from them aren't supposed to be accessed until later on in teen years, which can lead to a lot of different experiences, like I said, with anger. And that was something I started to experience. I had severe nightmares. I would have night terrors. And I remember in them, things always happening to my mom and my sister. And I remember waking up freaking out, and my mom would come running in, and this happened for years. And I remember as I got older, I started to get to know other people, and nobody talked about this. My parents didn't bring this up and talk about it. It wasn't talked about in church. As I started getting older into teen years and started dating, you start learning that other people have these experiences, but the church never really addressed this. And I remember as a teenager, I started questioning a lot of things. Do I want to stay in the church? Do I want to be able to have this relationship with Jesus? Because how am I supposed to when I have this secret at this time? So I attended an academy, Bass Memorial Academy, and one of the youth pastor that was there, Tim Cove, his wife, Kim, she connected with me really well, and she shared that she had some similar experiences, and I felt very connected with her. And I remember starting to explore my own relationship with God. Now, I was born Adventist. My parents were Adventist, so we have Adventist generations on both sides. But when you go through an experience like this, you have to start exploring your own experience, your own walk. And I wasn't sure what that looked like until about academy and college, because I had not started to address this. I was forced to go to therapy in academy because I tried to leave, dealing with a relationship I had at that time. And looking back, I know I was trying to run away. I was trying to escape something I had not addressed and healed. When I was in college, I had started my program for psychology because I knew I wanted to be a therapist. I wanted to be able to take the experiences I had had to be able to help other people. And so during this process, being able to get into classes at Union College, which is where I got my bachelor's at, and meet professors, I actually decided to start therapy for my process there with Dr. Brown. He was a pastor but also a therapist. And during that process, he had a technique called EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And during this process, he started helping me heal my trauma from the sexual abuse. I remember going in feeling dirty, and I didn't understand that feeling. I didn't understand why I was having that experience, and having relationships come and go, I just felt so lost. And during this process with therapy with Dr. Brown, solidified one, that God was still there, and he wanted me to be able to understand that he didn't want me to be hurt at 6. That was not his desire. And because we live in a sinful world, we have, unfortunately, those experiences sometimes, but that's not God's will. And through my healing process with EMDR, I remember the session that I felt like my entire chest cavity opened up. For the first time, I felt clean from the first time I ever remember that feeling. And I told him, I feel like I just went through an internal washing machine. And at that point, I was probably 20, 21. I remember thinking, this is what I want to do for others. I want to be able to provide this healing experience, be able to use the experience I had had at just 6 years old to be able to help others. And I finished my bachelor's in 2008, and I went in to get my master's in marriage and family therapy at Friends University here in Wichita, Kansas, to be able to help other people that have been experiencing this same type of history. Through this process, I have learned so much that our walk with God is individual. We need to be connected with others. We need to be able to understand that their walk is not ours. We can support each other through it, but originally and at the end of the day, our walk has got to be an individual one with God. And that's the same with our mental health. We can't walk someone else's mental health and be healed. We have to address those things that a lot of us hide. A lot of us are scared to address because it feels gross and it feels icky. And if we all still have those type of experiences, it means we all have things we still need to heal. And that's something that I tell a lot of my clients, and I take for my own experience. If something isn't sitting right, if you think of a memory and it still sits and it still makes your stomach twist, it means that your nervous system has not healed it. And in those situations, I firmly believe that God is trying to tell us through our body that we still need to be able to heal, whether it's reaching out to Him, whether it's reaching out to other professionals, but being able to know that there are other people that also have this experience. And if we can be open, we can talk about these things and not hide. We have the opportunity to be able to know that God is still there listening to us. In that process, I have been able to be a therapist and enjoy that experience for 11 years, going on 12 years, and I am blessed that even though I started this journey with a very unhealthy experience, a traumatic experience, I can now use that experience to love others the way God loves me. And I'm blessed to be able to share that experience with others.
Well, thank you, Julie, for talking. That was quite a story. I can't imagine what you've gone through. I've shared a little bit of my story earlier, and you said something that I never realized, and that is we are afraid to say something because we don't want to get in trouble. And I remember being quiet, not saying anything until a month ago when I did my talk. So thank you very much. Thank you for your ministry of helping others, turning your tragedy into a tool that can help other people survive this. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I see heaven invading this place. I see angels praising your holy name. I sing praise, give you honor, worthy Jesus. I see glory falling in this place. I see hope restored and healing of all disease. I sing